All right, today we're going to talk about something that, let's be honest, can feel like a total bureaucratic headache, AI governance. But what if I told you it's not an obstacle? What if it's actually your biggest competitive advantage? Let's get into it.
So let me just ask you this, right out of the gate. Is your AI strategy really built to last? I mean, is it solid? Or is it maybe, just maybe, sitting on a shaky foundation that could crumble the second a new regulation drops? Or you have an ethical misstep? Or even just some internal chaos? That's the real question we're digging into today.
Okay, here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the high stakes of what I'm calling AI's governance gauntlet. Then we'll pinpoint 3 core challenges pretty much everyone faces. After that, we'll see how this works in the real world, governance in the wild. We'll also uncover a really powerful human-centric solution. And finally, we'll wrap up with a clear blueprint you can use to build your own framework.
All right, let's start with AI's governance gauntlet. Because a weak framework, well, it doesn't just cause a few problems. It puts literally everything you're trying to build with AI at risk.
I want you to think about it like this. Imagine your big, ambitious AI projects are a skyscraper. They're shiny, they're innovative, they're reaching for the clouds. But if the governance underneath, the foundation is weak, if it's full of cracks and inconsistencies, that whole beautiful structure is vulnerable. It's not a question of if it'll face a storm, right? It's when. This is why getting that foundation solid from the get-go is absolutely non-negotiable.
So what are these common hurdles? What are the things that are tripping up even the smartest organizations when they try to get AI governance right? Let's break down the 3 big ones.
Okay, first up is a huge organizational challenge, getting executive buy-in. I mean, if your leadership just sees governance as another boring compliance checklist, or worse, just a cost center, it's pretty much dead on arrival. The fix? You have to completely reframe the conversation. This isn't just about dodging risks. It's about building real customer loyalty, boosting your brand's reputation, and creating sustainable, long-term value. That's a language every executive understands. And then there's the second organizational beast, siloed departments. You know the drill. You've got your tech teams over here, your legal department over there, and the business units are in their own little world. When that happens, you get clashing goals and massive accountability gaps. So what's the fix? It's simple, really. You have to build bridges. Create cross-functional AI governance committee. Get everyone, tech, legal, business, to the same table right from day one. That's how you align what's technically possible with what the business actually needs.
All right, now for a big technical one. Poor data quality. This is so fundamental, I can't stress this enough. Your AI model is only ever as good as the data you feed it. Garbage in, garbage out, right? If your data is incomplete or biased or just a total mess, your AI is going to be unreliable and frankly useless. The solution has to be proactive. You've got to invest in solid data governance before you even dream of deploying a complex AI model.
And last but not least, the legal challenge. Trying to navigate this fog of regulatory uncertainty. AI laws are changing constantly. They're different everywhere you look, and trying to keep up is just a massive headache. So here's the move. Instead of just reacting to every single new law that pops up, you build a resilient, adaptable system from the very start. And you do that by aligning with globally recognized standards, like the NIST AI Risk Management Framework. That gives you a stable core that can actually evolve as the rules change.
Okay, enough about the problems. We've seen what can go wrong. Now let's flip the script and see what success actually looks like. It's time to check out governance in the wild and see how the industry leaders are absolutely nailing this.
First stop, financial services. This is an industry where the stakes are incredibly high because we're talking about decisions that directly impact people's financial lives. Now, what's so cool about this is how concrete it makes the benefits. A fintech company doesn't just talk about being fair, its governance framework literally mandates bias audits. They use specific fairness metrics to actively stop discrimination in credit scoring. And here's the best part. If a loan gets denied, their explainability mandate means a real person gets a real human-readable reason why. Think about that. That is absolutely fundamental for building trust with your customers.
Okay, let's shift gears to an even more sensitive area. Healthcare. In this world, governance is all about 2 things: protecting patient privacy and making sure diagnostic tools are 100% reliable.
So in this case, a hospital's governance framework isn't just some dusty document on a shelf, it's an active shield. They have an ethical review board that scrutinizes every single new AI tool to make sure it lines up with core medical ethics. And their data handling protocols, super strict anonymization and access controls. That's what makes something like HIPAA compliance a reality, protecting patient privacy every single step of the way.
Okay, so we've seen the what and the how, but now we get to the most important part, the who. Because the most effective governance frameworks, they all have a secret ingredient, and it has everything to do with leadership. Let's dig into this human-centric solution.
And that secret ingredient is something called spiritual intelligence, or SQ. Now, hold on, this isn't about religion at all. It's about a leader's ability to operate from a place of deep purpose, empathy, and this sense of interconnectedness. You can think of it as the why behind the what. It's the ethical compass that guides all those complex, values-driven decisions that AI is forcing us all to make.
You know, Dr. Surya Ganduri puts it perfectly. He says SQ transforms a potentially rigid and bureaucratic process into a values-driven, collaborative, and resilient effort. And that's it, right there. That is the shift from a governance of rules to a governance of values. And believe me, it changes everything.
So what does this actually look like in the real world? Okay, imagine this. A leader is looking at a new AI tool. It's going to dramatically boost efficiency, but it could also replace an entire team of people. A leader with high SQ doesn't just look at the numbers. They start by articulating a vision that goes way beyond just profit. They explain why this change matters for the company's long-term health and for serving customers better. Then, they use real empathy to address the very real, very human fears about job security. And instead of just ramming the tech through, they foster collaboration. They bring that team, HR, and the tech folks together to design a transition plan, maybe one that focuses on reskilling. And finally, they balance that drive for innovation with mindful reflection, making sure the solution doesn't just boost the bottom line, but also reinforces a culture of respect and trust. See? That's the SQ advantage in action.
So let's bring this all together. What's the blueprint you can actually use to build a framework that lasts? Well, it really boils down to 3 core principles. Here they are. A strong framework has to be proactive, not reactive. That means you're building it to anticipate challenges, not just scramble when a crisis hits. It has to be integrated, not siloed, woven right into the fabric of your organization, not just bolted on. And maybe most importantly, it has to be values-driven, not just rules-based. It needs to be guided by a real purpose that actually inspires and unites your people. And that leaves us with one last, really critical question for you to think about. I want you to look at your own organization and ask this. Is your AI governance just a checklist, something to be ticked off and forgotten? Or is it actually becoming a core part of your culture? Because the answer to that question, that's what will determine if your AI strategy is truly, truly built to last.